I'm Chris Hansen, right now on Crime Watch Daily from here in New York. Convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life without parole, and he was nowhere near the crime scene.
He never left his house?
How could this happen to me? What did I do?
Inside the controversial case of Ryan Holley, behind bars for the savage beating death of a teenage girl.
You couldn't even recognize her.
Even though prosecutors admit he was a mile and a half away, asleep in his bed.
Have you ever lost sleep over the case?
No.
Today, our Amy Dash with a robbery gone bad, a one-day trial, and a law that cost a Florida man his freedom.
I just couldn't believe it, that now my life's gone forever, and I'm gonna go to prison.
Then, a young pilot and heir to a family fortune, kidnapped and held on a $750,000 ransom.
If you think you can outsmart us, it will cost your son his life.
Today, the surprise suspect faces our cameras.
Did you kidnap Robert Weil? Did you murder Robert Weil?
Right now,
Andrea Isom, sir, with Crime Watch Daily.
Jason Matera with Crime Watch Daily.
this
I'm Elizabeth. I'm here with Crime Watch.
I'm Michelle from Crime Watch Daily.
Anna Garcia from Crime Watch.
is Crime Watch Daily.
Stay off my property. We'll find you again. We always do.
Welcome to Crime Watch Daily, everyone. I'm Chris Hansen. First up today, how can a person be convicted of first-degree murder when they're a mile and a half away from the crime scene when the killing occurred? Our legal correspondent, Amy Dash, is here with a controversial case out of Florida.
Chris, Ryan Holley gave the keys to his car to a buddy, then went to sleep. Next thing he knows, he's in cuffs, facing first-degree murder charges, even though he was nowhere near the crime scene.
An innocent teenager died. He's the worst one of all.
Her face had been so badly beaten you couldn't even recognize her.
He had 3 different chances to say no, to change it, to not let it happen.
He is our Charles Manson.
Ryan, how many years have you been here?
Currently incarcerated 14 years and a month. I became incarcerated at 20 years old.
When I met Ryan Holley at Florida's Walton Correctional Institution, he was optimistic and spirited. Even for a man whose destiny was life in prison, convicted for the murder of his friend, 18-year-old Jessica Snyder. She was viciously beaten to death with the butt end of a rifle. Holley's sentence in connection with that murder, one stop short of lethal injection.
When I was convicted, I was given natural life without the possibility of parole.
And when you hear how that daunting life sentence came to be, you may feel as outraged as many of the nation's respected legal minds. He didn't participate in the actual crime.
He never left his house. He was sleeping.
Then again, maybe you won't. Have you ever lost sleep over the case?
No.
The story begins, like so many we follow, with a portrait of innocent youth.
He was a good kid. I mean, he was studious. He didn't even open a book. He got straight A's.
Growing up, Ryan's mom, Sylvia, then a single parent, joined the Navy just to keep her children in a disciplined environment.
My kids were raised on Navy bases around the world.
Were you raised to respect law enforcement?
We never had any trouble with law enforcement.
When Sylvia married longtime love John Garnett,
That's one happy family there.
Ryan happily gave his mother away. Ryan's friend Jessica Snyder was a guest at the wedding, but 4 days later, her skull would be bludgeoned to pieces.
It was one of the worst I've ever seen.
But why is Ryan Holley paying the ultimate price for Jessica's murder when even the prosecutor admits this? Ryan didn't plan this.
No, he didn't plan it.
I absolutely had no idea. How could I get in trouble for something that I was never at the scene of the crime?
To understand this troubling case, we rewind to the night before Jessica's violent death. Ryan threw a party at the Pensacola, Florida home he shared with his sister Heather and Ryan's roommate Billy Allen. Billy was dating Jessica, who was one of the party guests that night.
Did you like Jessica?
Yeah, she was very, very sweet. Everybody who I knew from the people coming in and out of the house seemed to know her and like her and didn't think anything bad of her.
As for Ryan's roommate, Billy Allen, well, Heather wasn't exactly feeling the love.
He just always seemed sketchy to me.
There were even rumors that Billy not only dated Jessica, but had a fling going with her mother, Christine, as well.
So it's possible that Billy was dating Jessica and the mother?
Well, that's possible. But I do remember during the course of the investigation that came out.
Billy had revealed to a few friends that Jessica's mom kept a safe in her home.
They believed that there was $20,000 in cash in the safe.
Which brings us back to the night of Ryan's party, where a sinister plan is hatched. It's a raucous affair and the booze is flowing hard.
How drunk would you say that you were?
I would say I probably had between 6 to 10 drinks, a mixture of rum and coke.
Ryan goes to bed before the party ends, but then someone he barely knows enters his bedroom around 7 o'clock the following morning.
I was woken up by Donnie Williams, and he had asked me if he could borrow the keys to my car.
Did you know Donnie Williams?
No, ma'am. I had met him briefly before, but I didn't know him.
Ryan refused to give Donnie Williams his car keys, but when Ryan's roommate Billy came in with the same request, Ryan had a change of heart.
And what do you say?
And I tell him yes, basically.
Why?
Because I had trusted him.
While Ryan and Billy Allen are discussing the keys, Donnie and two other men Ryan hardly knows enter the room. Ryan is groggy and still drunk, but he overhears their conversation.
And they're all talking and they want your car to
Yes,
go
ma'am.
do something.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know at that point what they want to do?
It was a mixture of two different things. They had spoken about going over to William Allen's on and off girlfriend's house, Jessica Snyder, to steal a safe. And then they also talked about going to get something to eat.
Then, according to a police interview with Ryan, the men asked him if they could borrow some bandanas.
In his statement, he acknowledged that they were talking about going over there and doing, in his words, a John Wayne. And they were asked for bandanas.
Ryan tells the men where they can find the bandanas. Then he overhears more conversation. The would-be bandits discuss who might be at the Snyder home when they pull off the heist. They knew Jessica's parents would be gone, but what about Jessica, Billy's own girlfriend?
They thought she might be there, the girl. There had been some discussion in the presence of Ryan Holley what they would do if Jessica was there.
And which was?
One of them was that they might have to knock her out. They might have to put her to sleep. This is the language they used.
Ryan tells me the conversation barely registered with him, and what little did, well, he just didn't believe.
There was no reality in my mind that this was something that could actually happen. Absolutely not.
Coming up, a band of thugs with a menacing lust for drugs and money turns murderous.
He just kind of snapped and just kept pounding and pounding and pounding on her face and her head with the shotgun. There's not much left after that.
And what exactly is Ryan Holley's role in this brutal crime that got him life behind bars without the possibility of parole? You'll be stunned.
How could this happen to me? What did I do? I didn't do anything.
I think a lot of people would wonder, how can a person be convicted of first-degree murder when they are nowhere near the crime scene? It's a question Ryan Holley and his family have asked over and over again. Our legal correspondent Amy Dash is back now with more on the headline-making case.
It's the early morning hours in the small waterfront town of Pensacola, Florida. After a night of heavy partying, Ryan Holley had agreed to let roommate Billy Allen borrow his car.
Had you ever said no when he asked to borrow your car?
No, ma'am.
You were good buddies.
Yes, ma'am.
Ryan admits he had overheard Billy and others talk about burglarizing the home of Jessica Snyder, Billy's girlfriend. But in my prison interview with Ryan, he insists he never thought the plan was real.
I didn't take it serious at all.
at the time?
When they had said that they were going to go do that, I was like, I don't really.
You didn't think this would really happen?
No, ma'am. I've never been involved with anything like that in my whole life.
Ryan also overheard the conspirators' plan to knock out Jessica if she happened to be home during the heist. Something else Ryan's family says he didn't believe.
She was dating the guy that was borrowing the car. Why would he think they would do anything to her? So he didn't think anything of it.
But the plan was real, very real. While Ryan laid in bed trying to shake off a hangover and get some sleep, Billy is behind the wheel of Ryan's car, on his way to Jessica's 1.5 miles away, to steal her mother's safe containing money and jewelry. 3 accomplices were in on the heist: Donnie Williams, Charles Miller, and Jermon Thomas, veritable strangers to Ryan. When the crew first arrives at Jessica's home, the plan is put on pause. There's a snag.
When they got there, though, her younger sister was there. So they were waiting for the sister to leave to go to school.
While they're waiting, Billy's cell phone rings. It's Ryan.
When I called, I was, where's my car? What are you guys doing?
And what does he say to you?
That they were at Jessica Snyder's house. And that they were waiting for the sister to leave.
At that point, did you realize this was a reality?
No, ma'am.
You still didn't?
Still didn't.
So what did you say to him?
I remember that he said he had to go, and he ended up hanging up the phone.
Ryan falls back asleep. Meanwhile, at Jessica's house, her little sister has finally left for school. The heist is back in motion. Billy waits in the car while the other 3 bust their way into Jessica's home and head for the safe in a back bedroom. Jessica is there, and she's terrified.
Apparently she was screaming because they had broken into the house.
While the others are scrambling to get the safe and looking for other items to steal, Charles Miller remembers that plan to knock out Jessica if she got in the way. That plan, evil as it was, would evolve into something seemingly psychotic.
Charles Miller removed a shotgun that was on the wall in the house.
That was her father's.
To shut her up, he started hitting her. And then he just kind of snapped and just kept pounding and pounding and pounding on her face and her head with the shotgun.
The butt even broke off of the rifle. He was hitting her so hard.
When the others saw Jessica's crushed skull and lifeless body, Charles Miller was standing next to her, bloody shotgun in hand, an eerie smile on his face. He tossed the gun in the kitchen sink. But now the others are panicked and in a rush to get the safe into Ryan's car. Once it's lifted into the back seat, the burglars race back to Ryan's house, plowing through a fence to get to the backyard.
I hear a loud bang, basically. And when I get up to look to see what it is, my car is basically sitting in my backyard. I seen them jumping out of the vehicle, and they basically took a safe out of the back seat and put it on the ground.
What was your reaction to that?
Oh my God. I said, what's going on? What are you doing?
The crew uses every tool they can find to try to bust open the safe.
Charles Miller, he has blood on his clothes. And I was like, I don't want no part of this. You guys need to leave. And he said, shut up.
But it's then that Ryan learns of the vicious beating endured by his friend, Jessica Snyder.
The one person who actually did say something to me that made me realize that something had happened to Jessica was when Donnie said, 1 minute, it's like I could see her head there, and then the next minute I couldn't.
What did you say?
And he had started crying.
Before Ryan had even a minute to absorb the horrific murder, police showed up at his house. All the banging trying to get the safe cracked piqued the interest of a suspicious neighbor who had called the cops. Now the long arm of the law had its reach on everyone.
When they had first came into the residence, they basically told everybody to freeze. And what they did was they put everybody in handcuffs, and they had us sitting in the dining room.
It didn't take them very long, did it?
No, ma'am. Absolutely not.
Ryan is confident he's not a guilty party in this misguided turned murderous heist. He cooperates with the police.
I wasn't involved at all, and I didn't even have any part of what they did to her.
I was never being deceptive or anything like that. I was really just trying to do the right thing by telling them what had happened that night.
But Ryan's cooperation would come back to haunt him. Coming up,
I was floored. How could I get in trouble for something that I was never at the scene of the crime?
a little known and controversial law puts Ryan away for life.
If there was no car, there was no crime. No crime, no murder.
We're back now with more of our all-new investigation into the controversial case of Ryan Holley. Once again, here's legal correspondent Amy Dash.
Chris, I'm here at Walton Correctional Institution in Tafuniak Springs, Florida. It's a place Ryan Holley calls home for now. This after he lent his car to a friend. A decision that would end in murder.
This wasn't a quick shot to the head. She suffered. Can you imagine being beaten to death? A teenager?
The ghastly bludgeoning of an innocent teenage girl. It was a murder case Florida cops had little problem piecing together. And not without Ryan Holley's help.
The record shows that Holley fully cooperated with police and told them what he knew and who else was involved in Jessica's murder.
Even though police know Ryan wasn't involved in the heist, the murder, and wasn't even at the crime scene, and simply lent his car keys to a roommate. Stunningly, he was charged with the murder of Jessica Snyder, along with the 4 other defendants.
We've run into some problems here, and I want to tell you that we've got a warrant for your arrest.
They basically say, we think you have something more to do with the crime that happened, so we're going to arrest you on an open count of murder.
It's a controversial and some say antiquated law called the felony murder rule. In some states, when people participate in certain serious crimes like a robbery or burglary or rape, and a person is murdered during the commission of that crime, everyone is held responsible for the death.
So everyone is treated like the trigger man?
Correct.
Even if they didn't pull the trigger?
Absolutely.
But how is Ryan Holley responsible? Ryan is about to learn the law the hard way.
You knew the burglary was going to happen.
I wasn't involved at all, and I didn't even have any part of what they did to her.
Exactly.
And I didn't have any part when they came back to the house and they did what they did to the safe.
Exactly. But see, the problem is this. If it wasn't for the burglary being committed,
then nothing would have happened.
He knew when they left his house with his car that they were going to use it to participate or to commit the burglary, and also that if Jessica was there, she might be harmed.
But he also told investigators many times that he didn't think they were serious.
Yeah, he said that. And that's up to the jury to decide.
The felony murder rule requires that a person must have something called conscious intent, meaning that Ryan had to fully expect the burglary to take place.
You can't just be aware of something. You have to intend that the crime be committed.
That's correct. Someone has to commit a crime, and someone has to be killed during the course of the crime, and you have to have intended to assist them in the underlying offense.
But as far as Ryan Holley is concerned, there was no intent, conscious or otherwise.
Had I truly known, I would have never, ever, ever allowed that to happen.
You wouldn't have given your keys?
No, ma'am.
But prosecutors were going by the book on this one. Ryan was facing murder.
I was absolutely stunned.
In this particular case, he did nothing. He wasn't involved in planning the case. He wasn't involved in receiving any of the goods afterwards. He told him he didn't want anything to do with it.
A lot of people think it's harsh.
Do you think it's harsh?
I don't have an opinion about it.
You must have an opinion.
No, I really don't.
What prosecutor David Rimmer did have to offer was a plea deal of just 10 years in state prison for Ryan's role in the case. Ryan was the only defendant offered a deal.
I was willing to do that. I was willing to give him a break.
But the Holley family rejected the offer, and Ryan's stepfather blames himself.
I told him not to take it. If he would have taken it, he'd be home right now.
But John Garnett says he had good reason for rejecting the plea deal at the time, blaming this woman for that ill-fated decision. Sharon Wilson, Ryan's attorney. According to Ryan's stepdad, Wilson practically guaranteed a slam-dunk victory if Ryan went to trial.
Chief made me feel very comfortable that he would be coming home.
She told you not to take the plea deal.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
She said that there was no way that I would be convicted at trial. Me and my family were so certain that my mother and my father, my stepfather actually brought a change of clothes and had it in the truck.
You were expecting to go home.
Yes, ma'am.
But Sharon Wilson tells Crime Watch Daily it was Ryan's own decision to reject the plea deal, and that she knew defending Ryan was going to be a challenge under the felony murder rule.
I knew that it was going to be difficult. We had really tough facts, we had a sympathetic victim, and then we had laws that unfortunately we could not change before the trial. We were stuck with that.
But worse yet, claims Ryan's family, Wilson never explained the concept of felony murder.
She never said to you, if he does not get acquitted, he will go to prison for life without the possibility of parole. She never told you that.
I can't speak to what they understood. It is very hard to wrap your mind around that someone can be convicted under those circumstances. I don't think the jurors understood it.
And when Ryan went to trial,
she never objected to anything. She never called a witness except for Ryan.
Ryan's entire trial took just 1 day.
This was just like a ram, bam, thank you, ma'am, get her done deal in 1 day.
The families always say that. Basically, when somebody gets convicted, it becomes the attorney's fault, in spite of the bad facts.
It seemed over before it started. Not just the trial, but Ryan Hawley's young life. He was found guilty and sentenced to die behind bars.
It hurt. It hurt. I just couldn't believe it, that now my life's gone forever, and I'm gonna go to prison.
Do you have any regrets over charging him with the first-degree murder?
No, I really don't. I mean, I know it seems cold, but it was his decision to reject the plea offer.
The jury had an option of finding Ryan guilty of the lesser charges of second-degree murder or manslaughter. But based on their verdict, jurors felt Ryan needed the harshest punishment.
There was no car, there was no crime. No crime, no murder.
Despite the devastating sentence, Ryan has spent countless hours teaching himself law and essentially writing his own appeals, all of which have been denied. But then, a flicker of hope for Ryan. In this document, obtained exclusively by Crime Watch Daily, Florida's Office of Executive Clemency, quote, issued a favorable recommendation on your application for a commutation of sentence. Ryan is granted a hearing before the Clemency Board.
He acknowledges his responsibility and has expressed remorse for the tragic consequences of his actions.
And finds a sympathizer in Florida Governor Rick Scott.
Clemency is an opportunity to temper justice with mercy.
But Ryan's opponents were not so merciful.
He had them go do the dirty work. He knew they were going to beat a teenager with a shotgun.
He's not acted at all like an adult and more like a child that got his arm caught in a cookie jar and denies he took a cookie. He is our comparison to Charles Manson.
Ryan's mother makes her impassioned plea for compassion.
I would give my life today if I could bring Jessica back. Ryan would give his life. We are so sorry about what happened to Jessica and her family.
In the end, Ryan would not get freedom, but he would get a compromise.
I move to commute Ryan Hawley's life sentence to 25 years imprisonment followed by 10 years probation.
Ryan Hawley will someday taste freedom.
So what would you like to say about the fact that your sentence was commuted?
It's a blessing in the sense that I know that I'm not gonna have to spend the rest of my life in prison, but it still hurts that I'm gonna have to do another 7 years and I'll have spent 21 years and 3 months of my life incarcerated.
Back here is where we have already put a room for Ryan.
Unless he's granted a new hearing, Ryan's family won't be welcoming him home until 2024. For now, though, he knows exactly what he must do just to survive.
This deputy, when he was walking me down to the holding cell underneath the courthouse, says, Mr. Hawley, if I could tell you one thing about what you're about to go through, he's like, just don't let prison turn you into an animal.
We're joined by attorneys Misty Maris and Bob Bianchi. Thank you for being here. Bob, how can somebody be convicted if he wasn't even at the crime scene?
Chris, this case has been so overblown with regard to feeling bad for this guy. If you're going to look to rape somebody, burglary, armed robbery, and you are a participant in aiding and abetting it all in that felony, you are just as responsible as the person who actually killed the person.
He lent his car to the wrong person. That's what he's guilty of. The fact that he was sentenced to life in prison is a gross injustice.
Well, 12 jurors disagreed with you and found him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Let me just finish. No car, no murder.
I knew you were going to bring this up, Bob. You think that the one thing that stood in the way of this group of people trying to rob this woman was transportation? They would have gotten there anyway.
There's something to say about that. No car, no murder. They can't get over there.
Not to be too back to law school, but yes, that's a proximate cause theory, meaning anything that's set off in that chain, you could face the felony murder rule. There's a different theory out there that limits the felony murder rule, and that means that you have to be proven as an accomplice to the murder.
And you are an accomplice when you assist in giving the vehicle for which is used to go and commit a violent felony and potentially bandanas and potentially planned it, even though you weren't there, doesn't mean that you didn't set into motion and assist a felony in which somebody was killed.
The jury agrees with you, but when you're talking about a clemency proceeding, you're talking about justice.
You know what makes me laugh, Chris? I've been doing prosecution for half of my career, and everyone's a liberal and feels bad for guys like this until their mother, their father, their brother, or their sister is killed, and then they want everyone who's responsible, rightly so, to go to jail for felony murder, and that's what happened here.
There's another opportunity here to right a wrong, a gross injustice as far as proportionality.
Nothing is clean in a situation like this. Now, we want to hear from you. Does Ryan Holley deserve to be behind bars? Sound off right now on our Facebook page. Coming up, a family thrown into a real-life thriller when their son is taken and his kidnapper demands a ransom.
If you think you can outsmart us, it will cost your son his life.
Police follow the trail of clues back to a surprising suspect who agrees to sit down with Crime Watch Daily.
Are you saying that someone went through the trouble of orchestrating this elaborate plot to set you up?
That's next. Welcome back to Crime Watch Daily. Our next story is also out of Florida. A father receives an alarming email. It says if he doesn't hand over $750,000, he would never see his son alive again. Jason Matera is here now with more.
Chris, the ransom note was signed Group X, but police would wonder if that was a front for someone else, someone a little closer to home.
A ransom note strikes terror into the family of Robert Wiles.
We are watching everything, and if you think you can outsmart us, it will cost your son his life. Signed Group X.
Robert's gone missing, and now there is a threat he's being held hostage.
It's all speculation as to what may have happened to Robert.
26-year-old Robert Wiles is the heir apparent at his father's business, National Flight Service, an Ohio-based company servicing privately owned aircraft.
Robert was a very level-headed young man who seemed to be very much in tune to the future.
But Robert prefers working at the company's Lakeland, Florida branch, where the sun always shines and the fishing is good.
The father, Tom Wiles, wanted him to know the business from the ground up. So he was there in the sales position and trying to understand and to prepare himself for it.
But prosecutor Cass Castillo, who's handled this case from the beginning, says there is some friction in Florida.
He did not have a lot of business experience. So you had these different camps within the employees, and that created some level of friction between them and Robert.
And Robert's father, back in Ohio, CEO Tom Wiles, has other problems to deal with in Lakeland, namely his top mechanic, Steve Lindsay.
I think that Tom Wiles said that he was one of the best mechanics he's ever had work for him. Very gifted man.
But Castillo says Tom Wiles fired Steve Lindsay for being intoxicated at work. Now he wants his job back.
Steve Lindsay became very aggravated and agitated with Mr. Wiles, and at some point even threatened him and made some rather overt threats toward Tom Wiles.
About a month later, the bombshell email that will change the lives of the Wiles family forever. It's a ransom note from someone calling themselves Group X.
We have Robert. If you hope to see him alive again, you must follow our instructions without deviation. Obtain an item of luggage of the appropriate size and place in it $750,000 in small, unmarked, untraceable bills. You should instruct someone that you trust to place the box unopened in your son's office. Remember, we are watching everything, and if you think you can outsmart us, it will cost your son his life. Signed, Group X.
Robert had been scheduled to fly to Dallas for a trade show only days earlier. Now his family discovers that he never got on the plane and has in fact disappeared.
Tom Wiles immediately calls the FBI in Toledo.
And Tom Wiles says he will pay the ransom. FBI agents plan to leave the package in Robert's office per the demand.
They also were very suspicious that it was bogus because of the instructions that they were given and the location of where the money was going to be placed. It wasn't the type of environment that gave very many options of escape.
But instead of $750,000 cash, they fill a box with coffee equal to the weight of the bills and place it on the desk in view of hidden cameras in the room. And at a nearby location, they have a SWAT team ready to move at a moment's notice. Tom Wiles also enlists his most trusted employee, Lakeland Operations Manager Toby Holt, to help out with the plan.
Toby was absolutely aware of everything that was going on. As a matter of fact, was helping the FBI by changing the tapes in there when he would come in the morning.
But the box in Robert's office is never picked up. Still, the FBI keeps up the search for Robert, and they talk to his co-workers, including former employee Steve Lindsay, but with no luck, and no suspect. The FBI determines that ransom note was sent from Robert's cell phone, which makes sense because anybody who has him would not use his own device to avoid being traced. But there's one thing the kidnappers didn't count on. The movement of Robert's phone can be traced through cell phone towers whenever it is switched on.
As we tracked Robert's phone, we saw the path that it took. Robert's phone got on the Polk Parkway, which is a toll road which has a booth. We knew the time that the call was made, and we know the time that it went through the booth.
And then, pay dirt. The agents identify a car carrying Robert's phone going through that booth 2 days after he goes missing. It belongs to someone who works at National Flight Service in Lakeland, but it is not the disgruntled mechanic, Stephen Lindsay. The Wiles family is shocked. It's someone they never would have suspected, one of their most trusted employees, Toby Holt, the very man who helped on the FBI sting to catch Robert's supposed abductor. Not only that,
you see Toby Holt holding a phone to his ear as he's driving through the toll booth.
Stunned agents now check the records for Toby's personal phone.
When they start looking at Toby Holt's phone, they realize that the phones are traveling together everywhere. Many of the calls that were being generated were Toby Holt accessing Robert Wiles's voicemail.
Now agents dig into the past work relationship between Robert and Toby, and after talking to other employees, what they find is pure poison.
Robert was very exasperated with his dealings with Toby and was just saying, I can't take this much longer. He won't give me a chance. He won't listen to any of my ideas.
Investigators also learned that Toby was the last one in the building alone with Robert on the night he disappeared.
We knew Robert was still there because of the emails that were being made. So we knew Robert was still at the facility, and Toby was there with him alone.
And Toby's phone also shows that he made a call that night to a nearby Home Depot only minutes before it closed. Shortly after that, someone paid cash at the store for 100 yards of plastic sheeting and 2 rolls of duct tape. Investigators could not recover surveillance footage at the store because it had already been taped over. But they do track Toby's phone leaving the Home Depot right after it closes. The FBI says there is a window of about 3 hours where they cannot account for Toby's whereabouts that night. He later says he went to a bar and restaurant and paid cash, but there are no receipts or witnesses at those places, and Castillo says that Holt, a married man, rarely pays with cash.
During one of the nights he was going to go see a girlfriend, he charged $7 in condoms at a drugstore. He charged everything. So For him not to be charging his dinner, and that was out of character.
FBI agents arrest Toby,
Mr. Holt, any comment?
No. Did you kill?
About Robert Wiles.
charging him with kidnapping, extortion, and murder. It's one heck of a tough job for prosecutor Cass Castillo.
There's really no evidence in this case about what happened to Robert Wiles. It was indeed almost the perfect crime.
Next, Toby Holt goes before a jury.
I ask you to pay very close attention.
And he sits down with Crime Watch Daily to tell his side of the story.
Did you kidnap Robert Weil? Did you murder Robert Weil?
The baffling case of the missing Robert Wiles has come to this. His once trusted coworker, Toby Holt, on trial for his murder, with no body, not a single witness, and a chilling ransom note.
If you think you can outsmart us, it will cost your son his life. We had no forensic evidence. It was absolute mystery as to what happened to Robert Wiles. It vanished without a trace.
And now prosecutor Cass Castillo seeks to convict Toby Holt for kidnapping and killing his coworker.
The level of crime from which I could prove whether it was first-degree murder or second-degree murder or manslaughter became impossible because the evidence was unavailable.
But believe it or not, Castillo says the best witness is Robert Wiles himself.
Robert Wiles would not voluntarily walk away from the family fortune in a business that he was so interested in developing that something happened to him.
The defense cites lack of evidence, but Castillo says the most damning evidence is Robert's cell phone, because everywhere it goes, there is Toby Holt.
Virtually synchronized with the cell tower usage.
It is, in many ways, more conclusive and more persuasive than if I had 3 or 4 or 5 people say they saw him do it, because that's not capable of being manipulated.
In the end, the jury agrees. Holt is found guilty of manslaughter, not guilty on kidnapping, and sentenced to 30 years in prison.
As far as the murder count is concerned, then there simply wasn't enough evidence, because we don't know what happened.
But we wanted to get some answers from the man himself, so we went to see Toby in prison, and we put it to him straight.
Did you kidnap Robert Weil?
Absolutely not.
Did you murder Robert Weil?
Absolutely not.
But did he have a beef with Robert Wiles or what?
There was some tension, but it was more to do with communication issues between Robert and not just myself, but with the other staff members as well.
He admits he was at the Home Depot on the night of Robert's disappearance, but denies buying that plastic wrap and duct tape.
Well, I called them up and asked them if they sold mini blinds, because we just 3 weeks earlier got a Home Depot credit card. So I was just going to send a facility guy down to get those.
And what about Robert's cell phone? How does Toby explain it showing up everywhere he goes in the days after Robert goes missing?
I'm an avid follower of CSI, and I know you can track cell phones, so it's not something that I'm going to be carrying around with me.
Incredibly, Holt says someone with Robert's phone may have been following him.
Are you saying that someone went through the trouble of orchestrating this elaborate plot to set you up?
They may have just been following me for another reason.
Who?
I suspect Steve Lindsay, but I don't know.
Steve Lindsay, the fired mechanic who threatened Robert's father. Holt's attorney also pointed the finger at Lindsay in court.
He was desperate financially. He needed money desperately.
But you think Steve Lindsay had the phone and was following you?
Yeah, I think it's possible, yes. Because they never knew where Steve Lindsay was for the 3 days.
Now, we would love to hear Steve Lindsay's side of the story, but that's never going to happen. That's because Steve Lindsay died of natural causes before Toby Holt even went to trial. And that leaves the whereabouts of Robert Wiles unknown. If Toby is the killer, he surely knows where the body can be found. And according to Castillo, he could possibly lessen his sentence if he cooperates.
What would you say to Robert Wiles' family who are pleading with you? Toby, just tell us where our son's body is?
I don't have that information. You know, and it's sad, really, because you know they have been convinced that I did it, and unfortunately somebody else did it, and they've gotten away with it.